Well, at long last, as you can see, I've got the bonnet open on the Range Rover. It's a lovely sunny holiday Monday for Easter. It's a little bit chilly, but I've really got to get this car done. I never touched it last year, I was so busy. This is one of them sort of jobs that's a back burner. Do you know what I mean? I had customers coming in all the time. But I thought I really need to get this finished and done. I'm sick of it. I hate this car. I wish I'd never taken this job on. Well, we've all done that, haven't we? But today's the day. So, if you can remember, I got hold of an ECU that was supposed to be unlocked and it didn't seem to be. So I got another one. But this one came from RPI, a trusted name. And it's supposed to have a better mapping, more power, more performance, etc, etc. But there's one thing to notice what they've written on here, because we had this matched to this Discovery engine here. This is a Discovery 4 litre. Do not perform security learn. Alright? So I don't know what happened with the last one. I didn't put the computer into to learn security or anything like that, because that's the last thing we wanted. So it seems to me, is the security, you know, the immobilization, is it a software fix? I don't know. I really don't know. But one thing I did observe, and one thing I checked before it fires up. Well, if it will fire up. We had lots of problems. When we put this original harness in, this has got a little box here. I don't know if you can see it. It's got 3 relays in that controls a fuel pump and some other bits and pieces. And that was all seized up. So we got another one. And Bill was kind to provide that in Saskatchewan. So that held us up a little bit. But with the original ECU, well, the ECU we got off another chap, the engine would crank over, turn over, the fuel was going through, but it wouldn't fire up. Now I was trying to work out, because I don't know these things inside out. Is it immobilising the ignition, or is it immobilising the fuel, or is it immobilising both? I don't know. I couldn't tell. But one thing I did observe, when I came to check the dipstick, the level is here, and it should be here, and it doesn't smell oily. So through all that cranking and cranking and cranking, has it been putting fuel into the engine without a spark? I really don't know. I don't know enough about these systems, and I'll be brutally honest with you, I don't want to know. You know, you can get onto a learning curve and then all of a sudden Mike becomes a bloody Range Rover expert. No, I'm only doing this one as a sort of a favour. It's been a big project, but I don't want to get into them. This is it. Don't ever think about bringing a Range Rover here, or a Discovery, or a TD5. Anything. Don't bring anything. But I'm going to keep my eye on that, because I don't know if I've overfilled it or the oil's run back into the sump. I really have no idea. But if it does fire, we'll fire it once, then we'll change the oil. The oil on it was beautiful and clean, so I obviously got oil in it. I know there's no coolant in it, because I knew it was going to be stood out here over winter. And if there was a problem with it, well, you know, there's no point wasting antifreeze if it's going to be doing nothing. So there's no coolant in the system. So that's a little bit of a preamble. I'm going to clip this computer on, I'm going to put a battery on and try and find the key. That's a challenge. Right, I found the key. Put it under the carpet. Right, let's see. Well, I've got all the warning lights on, the fuel pump's running. Cross your fingers. Nothing. The interlock is switched on. I don't know if it's in neutral or not, so I'll have to play around with that back in a bit. One interlock sorted. And the answer is no. Still won't start. What the hell could be wrong with it? What the hell is it? What's stopping it from starting? There's nothing. You know, that this computer's a standalone one. The beauty about the 4-litre harness is it's all it's integral, so that shouldn't have anything to do with it. I've got a myriad of power switches down here. That's alright. But is it something missing from one of these plugs here? Now, the only way I can really test it, this might be the problem I've had before. Actually, have I got fuel pressure here? Oop, yeah, I've got fuel pressure, that's good. Well, it's got to be sparks, hasn't it? It's not sparking. The easiest way to do it is pull a plug off, if it will. Put a plug on. We'll see if we've got a spark. Oh, that's going to be tricky, isn't it? How the hell am I going to say that? I'm on my own. I'm sure I'll work something out. I checked the spark, there's no spark. So that's something. But why is there no spark? So what I'm doing now is I'm checking the power supply to the ECU whilst it's cranking. Now bear in mind, look at this here. I don't know if you can pick this up. Wait a minute, there. Will it focus? Right. The multimeter is on the power supply to the ECU. Observe, when I turn the ignition on, we've got 12.30. Watch what happens when we crank. Nothing. That's its problem. Something, when we turn the key, it's cutting off the power supply to the ECU. Now this is a common problem when you do TDI conversions, or if you put the wires on the ignition switch the wrong way around. However, in this instance we can't do that with this type of plug, because this plug is all multi-plugged, so we can't really just unplug different wires and put them on the other way around. So I'm going to have a check and if necessary, if absolutely necessary, I'm going to take a power supply from the back of the ignition switch straight to the ECU to see if it'll fire up, because I think that's its problem. Back in a bit, battery's flat. So I've had a good old poke around and I found out there's a yellow wire coming off the back of the ignition switch that is still live when you're cranking. Okay, so if you sort of look at this, wait a minute, I'll zoom in a bit because you might not be able to see. Right, the multimeter's in there, so we've got 12 at the moment. Obviously we've got voltage drop because of the starter, but I think that's our best bet. That's our best bet. So what I'm going to do is simply run the wire straight from there across to there, because you remember this is a hybrid. This is a sort of a mix-up of all sorts of stuff. This was originally a 3.9 with a 14 CUX in it. Now we've changed it to a gem system. So instead the wires used to go under the seat. I think what I've done is I've taken the wire off the old system and it won't work. Well, really, I mean, to test this out, all we've got to do is just shove a jump lead wire in and take it straight to the wiring harness, and let's see what happens. All it can do is catch on fire. Hopefully. So what I've done is, I didn't bother putting a wire in yet. I've put a wire straight from the battery, straight to the ECU. Let's see what happens. It's trying, isn't it? Now, have I flooded the plugs? I don't know. That sounds interesting, really interesting. Because if I take the wire off the battery again, so that I'm on the right track. It sounds like it's flooding. The throttle pedal's a bit stiff. God, it's so close, isn't it? I think that's its problem though. It's the wire was done wrong. Let's try it again. I'm going to leave it for a little while and come back to it, because I think the plugs have got wet. It sounds like it because it's almost there, you know. There's no reason for it not to start, but I think that's its problem. So we have to run a wire from the ignition switch all the way across and bypass all that junk stuff, and I think it'll work, and then we should be able to get somewhere, I hope. Oh, what a gay day if it turns out, eh? Right, see ya.